Hi, Grace. We're back here again, and you're looking fantabulous.
Thank you for the supports and taking care of me and also my mental development
Oh, look at you.
since we met last time.
Wow, Grace, you're so amazing. But, so what I wanted to talk about today,
Yes.
because we are going to have a hearing and everything, and we want the very best for you, and we want to know what you want, right?
Thank you. You always take care of me in every aspect.
I try my best, Grace. I try. You asked me to do this job
I need
2 years ago. 3 years ago, the first time you asked me to
Okay.
do it, but I said no then until the anyway. So,
We carry on.
so, so, um, you want to make sure that your health care gives you what you want out of life, right?
That of course, like otherwise I would be disappointed.
And that's why you asked me to be your power of attorney for personal care, correct?
Yes, that is why it is required. I have always been asking you to help me, but I don't. Laws are laws. They need documents to legalize. I don't understand. You help me out, please.
You're very, very good, Grace. So, do you know what benefits that power of attorney for personal care gives you? Do you know the four major things that you can tell the power of attorney you want, and then they will do their very best because that's their job to follow your wishes, right? If they accept the job and the task. Do you remember the four things?
Well, I have to. I'm still new with the subject matter,
Hmm.
still learner, and will speak from what my mind thinks.
Mm-hmm.
If I miss anything, please fill in the gaps for me
Okay,
so that
Grace.
it will be complete request.
Sure, Grace.
And I work in the government for a long time. I retired. Now I want to enjoy myself.
Yes.
And also, in addition to enjoy myself, I also want to be able to continue to be able to contribute my knowledge and my ability to get myself to develop my knowledge and skills better, and also to be able to help everybody who needs help. And
Wow.
of course, I need your guidance. I
Wow.
won't become a.
Yeah, but that's not why you signed a power of attorney for personal care. That's what you want to do with your life, right?
Oh, I see. Please guide me with the
You don't want.
question.
Well, I guided
I'm
you with the
answer.
question already. So let me ask you this question:
Good.
Do you want to go to a nursing home?
No.
Do you want
Because,
home care to come look after you?
well, I look after myself essentially. That is what it is. And of course, due to my, uh, I mean, I don't deal look after people before, and for looking after myself, I need the consultant's help. That and hopefully my employer with the personnel people help me out. And hope
Who are they?
who are they? You are one of them. For example, that is my impression. I you are asking about group. I don't mean specifically only you. I mean the group of people who take care of us in the way we need it. For example,
Yeah.
needed is health.
In the very beginning, though, you even tried a home care before you met me. And after you met me, you told me you didn't want home care because you had problems. Do you remember that?
I remember the incidents, but the I would like to provide and share my information with any all of you, but I need your help by answering your questions. Be more specific. I know we spend a lot of time. The reason I need your help now is because our discussion is from the beginning of simple
Okay, so
answer.
I don't want you to sound like a politician anymore because people won't listen to our movie.
Okay.
I want you to answer the questions directly, Grace.
Okay.
Please.
All right.
Please. You asked me to make movies. You asked me to help you, right? We get all dressed up. We're sitting
Okay.
here now,
I'm
right?
ready.
We talked about the subject before. We did it briefly, right? Just so we knew. I actually wanted to talk about something different,
Okay.
but you chose this topic. You chose this
Oh, I
topic.
see.
So
I-
now
I'm sorry.
when I ask the questions, I want you to give an answer and
I'll
not
try
just
again.
sound like a politician,
No,
Grace.
I'm not.
Well, you spend your life as a politician and you know how to
Yes.
say nothing
I'm
with a
happy
thousand
you
words.
remember and
Right.
forgive me for my
So
tone.
let's stay on track right now and
I
let's
appreciate
answer the questions, okay?
Good. That's good.
Do you want to go to a nursing home?
Personally, myself, no, definite.
Okay. What about home care? What has your experience been with home care?
Well, the experience as home care is essentially, in simple English, I could say in a few short sentences, follow the rules and directions of some caretakers who take care of a group of people, but among the group of people, I myself, together with other members, may have different needs and demand, and it's a little bit challenging for the caretaker and also for myself to follow as a group. In fact, we are a group, but we have to
What do you mean
behave
by
like
a group?
one.
What do you mean? Who's the group?
More than one person.
Well, what person? More than one patient or client, or more than one PSW, or more than one what?
Well, I couldn't.
Because you're still being a politician. You're half answering, but not even.
Pardon me.
You're not even half answering, and you know the answer.
I know that.
So this makes me wonder what you do say to other people too, Grace, because they keep writing in the forms that when you're with them, you say things about me. Many things.
Such as?
And they're using it to control your life. So this is what I'm trying to get at right now. We've talked about it many times, and I don't like talking about it. But tonight, this is what turned out to be the video that you asked to make. So I don't want to make it and not actually accomplish something.
Don't be this long. I cannot answer the question.
So my question is very simple.
Yes.
What is your experience with home care? Not what you would like to see in a perfect world. What is your experience with home care?
Home care is it has home care, as the name implies, care group. A group is a number of people with similar requirements, similar wants, similar age, and similar interest. Of course, when I say a group, that means a variety of people. Right?
Okay, so you know what, Grace? I think you're not doing very well these days. And you know why it is, Grace? It's because people are abusing you. They're abusing you. You haven't had your own money in a long time, have you?
Yes.
And I've been spending my money, right?
Well, because I run out of money.
And it's okay. I don't mind, Grace. I'm so grateful that I have some, right?
I appreciate
You knew 2 years ago, if my mom didn't die and leave me money, I couldn't have been with you 2 years ago. It would have been over. It's been like that. If I didn't get the job, the contracting job, and make, a few $1,000s there, like I could. And now I can't go to work, right? But you have a prescription for a massage. You're supposed to go massage every week because you have diabetes and we don't want to have your feet cut off, right? And lately your feet are tingling, aren't they, every day, right?
But
are your feet tingling every day when you wake up in the morning? Do you have to use the roller for your feet?
Yes.
Yes, you do. So you're not getting your medical care. You need a hearing aid. So this is why I have to speak up as well.
Yes.
You need a hearing aid. We've known that for 6 or 7 months. Do you have a hearing aid?
No, I haven't received it yet. It was suggested.
It wasn't paid for yet. I actually ordered it once, but then I couldn't get money and I had to cancel it so I could buy you food.
Oh, I see.
Okay, so you're not getting your proper care, Grace. And it's very detrimental to your health. It's negligence. Not on my part. Every day I'm trying to find money to help care for you and I'm sending emails to people. So that's the position we're in now, is that you haven't had any money for a long time. And I've basically been supporting most of this project for the whole time.
I appreciate that.
And I appreciate you too, Grace. Even the days you did give me $100, every time you did, I put 50 in the gas tank and drove you to the beach and to the park and bought you a couple of coffees, right? A couple of cappuccinos almost every time.
Well, it is quite a big expense.
Yeah, almost every time, Grace.
But everybody knows that transportation is required.
Yeah, especially if you want to go and enjoy your life and everything, right? Be able to go there and go to hockey
Especially
game.
my age, I cannot be walking that long.
Well, you can walk really well, better than me.
No,
But we that's what we did. That is what we did. When you give me the $100, which wasn't even every day for sure, not at all. I would put $50 in the gas tank and drive you to the beach and drive you around right, and buy you a couple of cappuccinos because you like cappuccinos, and we were enjoying the life.
This is not sufficient.
Well, it's okay. I'm not worried about it. I don't want you to feel no, Grace. I'm sorry. I don't want you to feel it's not your responsibility at all. I want you to be happy and everything, right? That's my number one goal, and that's why even then, when you give me $100, I put in a gas tank and take you to the beach and buy it because I want happy.
Thank you
That's the
very
number
much.
one thing that's bothering you right now, is the stress and the anxiety and I dare say depression, right?
Yes.
And this is your issue right now. But you're so strong. You're not giving in, and you are sleeping much better lately, and you're doing much better lately.
With the support from you and your team members.
Well, I don't have any. Well, team members are the doctors, Grace. The doctors that support us are the team members. I don't have any other team members. Only the doctors that support us. Not the doctors that gave you the false diagnosis of vascular dementia.
Thank you for
Because your CT scan shows you do not have vascular dementia. It shows your brain is the same as 2018 and your heart is the same as 2015. Your only memory problems are because you're old and it's harder to remember things, and you're being bullied for 3 years now.
And not the problems, the number of the items of problems and challenges keep growing up. So for each item, I need to think and try to plan some steps to solve them. So my little mind cannot contain so much information.
I know you help me though, Grace, and you know it. You do. You help me strategize a lot. We talk like this a lot, not in front of the camera, and you help me strategize a lot. Your skills are you're more of a politician, and you know some things that I don't know. You have different experience.
Listening
So we get we've been trying to get.
Listening.
The home care is not following the regulations. Grace, you told me in the beginning you didn't want home care, but because I was supposed to be dying from a heart attack and they wanted to do triple heart bypass surgery, I only was trying to get somebody to help you. Right? And when I phoned, I couldn't get any help for you. I couldn't get any help. And actually, home care wrote a letter and they said they can't help people with memory problems and insulin issues, and that's a death sentence. So, because if you've forgotten, you take too much insulin, or if you don't eat, or if death sentence, hypoglycemia, right? That's how we sort of figured this out and started together. But, and ever since then, they've been trying to put you in a nursing home, and you've been fighting, clawing your way out. They've had you in the hospital like 3 times now. And mostly it's because of sundowning, which means in the evening when the sun goes down, sometimes you can get a bit agitated and not take your pills. Would you agree?
Very often.
It's become more often lately, Grace, and it's a little bit of a concern to me. God bless you. But you know what? Ever since I researched it, because I knew if I looked it up, I would find stuff. I could just tell. And I think I knew it a long time ago, actually. I mentioned it, but then forgot. But so I went and looked up sundown, right? Sundowning. And sure enough, people with your condition, the symptoms, you don't even have dementia, but you have the symptoms, right? Some of the symptoms. Then when the sun goes down, they can get a little bit upset and not be very happy, right? But we figured it out when I told you and I showed you. You corrected it. You correct your behavior. Even we used to call for help before, because when that happened the first couple times, I don't want to you know, like I'm not here to make you do stuff, and I'm not here to physically make you take your pills and everything or eat right. I'm not. So the first few times we call for help, even the people that come here, they don't know what sundowning is. They take you away, right?
It happened.
It happened like 3 times, 4 times or something. So now the good thing is we learned. So when we have a problem, we don't phone for help anymore. We just figure it out, right?
And you come to support me too sometimes.
Yeah, I know. But we read about it and you understood the situation yourself. Just like I understand my hypertension and my anger from my back pain, you got to understand it from what you're going through, and now you've taken precautionary measures so that so that you minimize the effect, and when it gets a little bit harsh, you just kind of walk away by yourself and try to stay, but you try to stay away, and then it passes usually right after a while.
Right after, no, you people,
Takes a couple
my
hours.
support team, carry on helping me.
Yes, it's a lot of work, Grace, but you're doing so much better. So much better.
Thank you for your support.
Well, that's the truth, Grace. So, I asked you earlier, you told me you wanted me to POA, be the power of attorney for personal care. And you had told me that, and I explained to you through the law, what are the 4 main things that most people want to determine about their lives, even when they're not capable of the decision-making process any longer. What are the 4 main things?
Please don't put me to test. Give me an example.
See, this is a problem because nobody should be asking Grace what she wants for home care without talking about these 4 things first. Because they should absolutely know what the law is, and they should absolutely make sure that she is aware of what she's agreeing or disagreeing with. Right? That's how we don't end up making mistakes and ruining your beautiful life that you have ahead of you still, Grace. We've had 3 wonderful years. Anybody can go to our Facebook page and see it, I think. But, what was I just talking about?
Please.
The...
I try not to fail.
Small
Small question.
Yeah, I got to think for a second. But anyway, so we were talking about the 4 things that you get to decide ahead of time so that later when you can't really understand it anymore, those decisions are made, right? So people are still suggesting to you that you use home care, for example. So, you know that they can't help you because we have a letter from them saying they can't help you, right? Because you're in extraordinary circumstances. You need scheduled and unscheduled visits and drop-in visits, and you need to be seen like 5 or 6 times a day, right? Minimum. And really now we know you need somebody with you 24 hours a day to make sure that your glucose doesn't go too low at night or something, right? And you don't want to keep your glucose high just to prevent that, because that's a death sentence or getting your foot cut off sentence or going blind sentence and all that stuff, right? So it's a very fine line we try to manage. But the 4 things, between 6 and 8 you eat, and you should maximum between 10 and 12 after your meal, an hour to an hour and a half later. So, and if you get a little bit high, that's a good time to go for a walk. Bring it down, right? But what are the 4 things? You know the Chinese idiom. I got to tell her. This is why it's important, because she knows it now. But we've talked about this at least 40 times, 50 times in the last 2.5 or 3 years. And
So
she
many
knows the
things she
Chinese
remembers.
idiom. So when I ask her about this, she never ever knows.
Example.
But
please.
when I ask for the Chinese idiom, she almost I think you know, don't you? The 4 things in the Chinese idiom important about your life.
Oh, yeah, something that, yeah. You remind me about what I used to recycle, but the detail now I have. Well, it's your fault. A day or 2, you did not ask. I forgot now.
What
I'm
is
sorry.
it? You don't remember the
Okay.
Chinese
I
idiom?
had to go back to my poems. I try to remember them as
Yeah.
poems.
What is it?
zl3se. What I drink, most important affects me is what I eat. What I eat, right?
Yeah.
What I dress, how I dress.
Yes. Those are your two favorite things
where
in
I
life.
live.
Where you live, yes.
And then how I travel, by plane, by walking.
Your freedom to come and go as you
Yes.
please, right?
Transport.
And freedom. And that
transportation.
also means, Grace, if you extrapolate it a little bit out, it also means that you have freedom in the way you travel between your meals and your sleep and your waking hours and everything, so that you have one-on-one
Yeah.
care. So you don't have to wake up at 7, because what if you don't go to sleep till 4, because sometimes that happens to you, and then they wake you up at 7. It doesn't work, right? Or you can't eat the same food as everybody else. You have a very specialized diet, right? But you did say the right things. You said what you eat and what you wear. And those are your two favorite things in life, right?
Yes. At least try. I was taught from day when I learned there are 4 items at least. There may be more than that.
A little bit more.
Eat, that means clothing, eating, transportation, how I will travel, where I travel, and then whom do I travel with.
And where you live.
Where I live, transportation.
Your living accommodation.
Yes.
That's right. So when somebody's asking you about other healthcare options, you should say, does it include all of these, right?
Yes, of course, that's the basic.
Right. So, but I don't think they do necessarily tell you this when they're talking to you.
You are 100% right in that guess.
So it's very important that you're informed and knowledgeable when you're answering the questions. And they wouldn't be able to, anyway, so, okay. So those are the 4 things that the power of attorney for personal care gives Grace, that she wrote after she was abandoned in the hospital, actually. Nobody brought her clean underwear. Nobody brought her a toothbrush. Nobody brought her anything. She was in there for almost a week. They changed all of her pills. When I came to bring her, she called me. She wanted me to bring her some underwear and some toothbrush and stuff, right? And when I got down there, actually her doctor decided to let her go because the CT scan came back, the one that showed you did not have vascular dementia, right?
Fortunately.
So your doctor is really, really, and the last time you were in the hospital, they tried to keep you again, and a lawyer doctor had to come and get you out. So you got to be that's why we don't call for help anymore. We're afraid to call for help, right?
Well, you know after me well.
She's forever a politician. I love that about her too, I guess.
I work in the government.
I know.
All my life.
I know. You did a lot of public speaking too, Grace. I remember.
In the legislation.
Yes, I know. Even on TV, on the news, I remember. I saw your picture. As soon as I saw your picture after I first met you, I said, I know you from the news. But,
just a simple example.
So those are the 4 main things. And for the personal care. And so that means if I'm the personal care, power of attorney for personal care, right, I have a responsibility to give you what you told me you wanted, right, to the best of our ability. Most importantly, I have a responsibility to look after your health, right, which includes happiness, right? Healthy body, healthy mind. That's how it goes all together.
I'm happy that you, at least I would get this kind of close caring from you, so I don't really feel lost and helpless. Keep in mind that sometimes it hurt when I have reached that kind of situation. I thought hurt because I was the one, I care about everybody. I used my money when I went to Hong Kong. I bought the insulin from Hong Kong to Canada.
The Libra.
The Libra.
Mm-hmm. I've seen the letter from the government.
Yes.
You introduced it.
And I used my money initially to bring them and then offer to the staff in Ontario.
So now today, we made it all this far. And now the doctor said that you don't no longer understand money or the cost of things, right? And that's understandable, Grace, because the cost of things has gone so fast. How could you possibly know, right? And even like doing your banking online and all that, you didn't even work during the computer era, so excuse me. They shouldn't be expecting you to be able to do that. Those are called your instrumental activities of daily living, your IADLs. So that means also your health care. Remember the four things: the clothing, the food, the where you live, how you travel, where you go, and when, and everything. Also, the person is in charge of your health care. If the person is terrible, then the doctor will take it away, right? But obviously, we're doing a good job and the doctors like us, right? And they want us to carry on. But so that means I continue to provide the same health care that you're getting now, whether it's me or somebody else helping or whatever, but the same level of health care, right?
It's a concept.
Yeah, and you're a client. You're a client, not a patient, Grace, okay? That's how it works. So, you're the client, not the. Oh yeah. So, for example, your massage. You can afford it. You don't realize it, but you can. Your multivitamins, all the different vitamins I give you, you can afford them. There's not that many, but right now you can't get the money, so you can't. And it's been a few months with no vitamins, and it's been a few months with no massages. Okay. Pardon me?
I say I cannot help myself.
No, God bless you, Grace. You have the money and everything, and you have prescriptions for all of this stuff, but people are not allowing you to access your money, even though you have a diagnosis that you can't manage it and you don't understand it and everything. And we have people saying, oh, there's too much money for that and too much money for this, and you don't need that care and you don't need this care. And what I want to point out about that is I read early on that one person should have both powers of attorney, because that way when the person looking after your health asks for the money to pay for the bills, they get the money. Right? It's supposed to be a long-term financial plan and everything, not just it's supposed to be a long-term plan, but you're supposed to get the money to pay the bills, right? Otherwise you can't keep the same people coming, you can't keep the continuity, you can't keep the medications, right?
I don't know that.
So the power of attorney for property controls the money, and they can force the power of attorney for care away by not paying the bills, right? And I didn't know that when you did your powers of attorney 2 years ago, but after you get out of the hospital, when they tried to keep you in the first time, you went talking to Paulina, Ursula, and you decided to redo your powers of attorney, and you asked me would I be your power of attorney for personal care. And the year before, when you asked me to do both jobs, I said no, ask your son, right? Do you remember that?
Yes.
You do, right? Because I only knew you about 6 or 7 months at the time or less, and I asked to name your son. And then where was I talking about? Oh yeah, so out of the hospital.
Oh yes,
power of attorney for personal care. And so you started talking to Ursula. Look at see how smart she is. She's looking after me now, right? But your power of attorney for personal care and your power of attorney for property and your will, you went and did them all. And you talked to your 2 friends, and you went to your one friend. She lives with her 2 sisters, and they all use the same lawyer. And you went to her lawyer, and I drove you there. And then he closed the door, and I wasn't allowed in the room. I actually went and bought a set of Bob books that day and gave them to a kid in the mall, 4-year-old kid. So you made all 3. You gave everything to your children in your will, and you gave me power of attorney for personal care, and you gave power of attorney for property to your children with me as the backup. Do you remember that? Yes, you do, right? And then I can show you the email, maybe. I don't have it here. But Edward even said to you that you're of sound mind and you can do whatever you want to do. He sent you an email, right? So you are of sound mind when you did it, Grace. So that aside, TD Bank has been causing so many issues, and they demand that you go in the bank when you already have a letter from the doctor saying you don't have to go to the bank because you don't understand it anyway. Do you agree with that?
I remember, but not as rigid as the way you said it.
Well, what about going to the bank? Do they make you go to the bank to take out money? Can I go take out money? Can I go take money out of your bank account?
In what circumstances?
Can I go take money out of your bank account? Yes or no?
No.
Right.
That's why I
Do
said,
you have any bank cards that work?
My own?
Yeah.
Yes, supposed to. I did, but only recently I have problem.
Your bank cards haven't worked since I
time.
think September 19th or something, because the TD Bank cut them off.
Yes.
Right. So you don't even have an emergency fund. If you had an emergency to do something or go, you don't even have it.
No.
And many nights, like tomorrow, we're going to be eating toast. At least we have butter, because before we ate protein toast with no butter because we didn't even have butter. So this is what I call elder financial abuse, actually. And okay, so that's your power of attorney, and that's what you want. You want to care like this. You want to have all your fancy clothes, right, Grace? You want to have fashion shows every day, right?
That's my joy.
I know it is, Grace. And what's your other joy? Your food, right? Second joy. So you like when you get all kinds of surprises and spicy and different food, right?
You give me more varieties than I did it myself.
One thing, you eat a lot of vegetables, Grace, cruciferous vegetables especially.
But that's the new habit, eating habit you introduced to me.
Well, it's not new. We did it for a couple of years, but we haven't had the money to buy fresh vegetables, Grace. So I got my pension, because I get a pension for my challenge, right? I can't really work full time or anything, so I get a little pension, not much, enough, but anyway. So recently I was able to buy some fresh vegetables. So that's why you're able to go to the washroom much better. Everything is much better, right?
Yes.
But for a long time we couldn't afford them because we just didn't have the money. And now I'm out of money again because my pension isn't big enough to carry us the whole month, right? And the other thing, when they make you go to the bank, they ask you questions you don't really know how to answer. And because you're so smart and you made your whole life on being smart, you don't want them to understand that you don't really understand. It's not fair, Grace. Am I right?
Well, the most, at least I can carry on. If I do not have good terms with them, I'm not too sure what will happen to myself.
Well, they already froze your bank accounts, Grace, for all intents and purposes, and you have to go in the branch, which causes too much stress. For like 2 days, it'll cause a lot of stress. 3 days, and it's just not worth it. It's not worth it. You don't deserve that stress. But at least hopefully the government will take the money away from the bank, and then later they'll give it back to you with me looking after it, and we'll make a plan with the OPGT, Ontario Public Guardian and Trustee, so that they'll know what your financial plan is, and we'll work together, and that way we can even use it to help other people, because other people will use a similar plan. And because a lot of it is based on taxes and everything, your pension will more or less determine the level of care you get, which will be in line with your socioeconomic lifestyle that you've lived from the beginning anyway. So it automatically takes care of that.
Sounds very exciting.
It is.
When will that good news be made available for me?
Well, we had our hearing on the 27th, and today is the 9th, so that's, 4 days and 9 days, 13 days. Tomorrow's 2 weeks. and we haven't even heard really from anybody yet, and they know that you don't have money, and they know that what we're talking about, but they don't have special thing to step in right away and make sure you can have money right away. Like, you need money for groceries. We need money for groceries, right? They don't seem to have anything in their process or procedures to deal with it. So they need to fix their process and procedures too, Grace.
What can I do?
No, it's not what you can do. It's okay. It's okay. We're doing fine, and they are helping us. It's just a slow process. I believe they're helping us. The judge was fantastic. He's given us a chance, right? Like, we got to be thankful for the things that have worked out.
I'm thankful to you too, and all my other friends too.
Yeah, a lot of people have helped you, Grace. A lot, even your friends have helped you. You know, the ones that you talk to on the phone and that. And anyway, God bless everybody there, Grace. So now, we might as well. You know what? We talked a lot about the power of attorney. We talked about the home care can't look after you because of your scheduled, unscheduled emergency drop-in visits. You're in extraordinary circumstances. That's because of your insulin and your diabetes and your memory issues, right?
I actually, in fact, what all that you said, my knowledge and I'm only familiar with. The decision was negative. The reasons and all that, why not, why and why not, I don't know, why am I not able to do it? I still was not fully explained to me.
The biggest thing, Grace, is you're entitled to that. But even without that, just with a long-term financial plan with your own assets, your own property, right? Power of attorney for property, with your own property, you can be set up to live another 8 to 10 years with the, like Dr. Bears called me, the private jet of home care, right? Of personal care. The private jet of personal care. Do you remember when she said that? No? But
What a joke.
But that's what it is, right? It's a private jet of personal care. It's one-on-one. And you get everything you need, right? You're pampered, basically, right? Because the bottom line is your happiness is very important to your health. So now we've been through this for 3 years, and I told you in the beginning, and I told the doctors now too, that I could probably make you better in 2 years by coaching. It turns out there's a 2-year method called the finger dementia method. Do you remember me talking about that with you? The 5 things?
Oh,
No. Exercise.
I know.
Diet.
I have my idiom.
Yeah, but it's not the idiom. It's not that one. It's something else. I'm a little worried because Grace has never been like this. Grace, right now you're a little bit incoherent. And this is not too many problems. That's all it is, Grace. But the thing is 39% of the people like you get better all the way back to 0 damage. And when they put all the stress on you and the police and everything over and over and over and over, they created your symptoms. And once you go too far down the line, Grace, there's no coming back. This is why we really, really try hard to keep you happy. And right now, we can't even go watch a hockey game. We can't go for a drive, look at Christmas lights. We can't do anything, right?
I don't want to give the answer when it is not nice.
Well, that's okay. You can be honest.
I haven't been able to do that.
No. Your socialization and your exercise and everything is being limited as well as your food. And it's not by you and it's not by me. So I mentioned to Grace that I could probably get her better in 2 years, or is pretty good to where she'd have simple patterns and simple habits and be able to look after herself. That's what I thought I could do. And I am a coach, and I've taken many coaching courses, and I understand a little bit about things on a very superficial level, sort of, but enough to know and to keep it simple, because I'm smart enough to understand things as long as I can simplify them. So hopefully it helps other people, right, Grace? So when I told them I could do, yeah, you're very welcome, Grace. And when I told you I could do that, I was planning on dealing with diet and exercise, socialization for happiness, and walking with people and doing things, going to festivals and all that, right?
Yes.
And cognitive challenges. We have these kind of conversations before, and you're much, much better than this usually.
Thank you for the positive.
It's true.
feedback.
It's true.
Thank you.
But so those 4 things I knew automatically, right? And those are 4 of the 5 with the finger dementia that has a 2-year multidiscipline approach is what it's called. You can look it up. And the 5th thing is to keep an eye on their heart, because you're changing their diet, you're changing their exercise, you're changing their routine, everything. So just like any coach would do, you might encourage your people that you're coaching to do harder, work harder, eat whatever, blah blah. But at the same time as they're working harder, you're not going to push them to the point where they have a heart attack, right? So the 5th thing is to watch the heart. And Dr. Barris has been on that from the very beginning. She's stellar at watching your heart. So those are all 5 things that any coach at all should know about. And really, I think I would like to teach this course to parents and to children in schools. I think they should learn this when they're learning about financial, when they're starting to put some new courses in the schools. I think they should add this.
That would be good.
Right. So those are the 5 things right off the top, which is a 2-year multi-domain approach. It's called the finger dementia method. It comes out of Finland. And the whole world is studying it. Even Baycrest over here on Bathurst Street, everybody's studying it. But it has one major flaw. Well, it has more than one major flaw. Because you need to include the Cleveland Clinic method too, which I'm going to add in a second. But just for this here, if you were in a nursing home, you would not be able to get enough exercise, which is the very first step. And people know that. So if you go to a nursing home, you cannot use this method because you cannot walk enough kilometers in the day, right? You cannot walk enough, Grace. So I know all that. Plus, I'm a coach. I'm going to put them on this hand, okay? I'm a coach. I know all of these. I've taken courses and I've coached 25 years, almost 1,000 kids probably. And I also know that depression and stress and chronic anxiety and not sleeping properly will also give you lots of problems. Like stress. Just think about stress. Okay, let's do it this way. 4. So stress, right? There's 9. There's 9 things there. And we have probably all been so poor at one time or another in our lives that we couldn't pay attention. And we all know what it is to be stressed out and to not be able to focus on your job or your work. So when you're dealing with that because people are withholding your money and you can't get your socialization and you can't get your proper diet and you can't get your proper exercise and everything is, you can't get your massages and you can't get your supplements, right? Then you start to get depressed. You start to have all of these. And that's when you start to develop symptoms, even though you don't have a disease. Even though there's nothing physically, nothing wrong with you, because of these, you will show the symptoms. And not only that, but when they withhold your money, you will show all of these signs. Plus, you won't be eating right. You won't be getting your proper diet. You won't be getting your proper socialization. I can still give you your cognitive challenge when we discuss things here. And keeping an eye on your heart is great, but if you're not exercising it enough, so really everything gets wiped out when they keep your money and withhold access to your money. And we did read about how one person should manage both. And I can't get paid for it if I'm managing it, and that's okay. I would get a little bit for being the power of attorney, I guess, but I don't even know if I wouldn't even, maybe, I don't know. But for the power of attorney for personal care, I won't even get paid, Grace, because I can't. But if you lived with me in a bigger house where we have more room and everything, I would be very happy to look after you and not charge you volunteer. I volunteer my whole life. And but we need some help so we can hire somebody to come in so I can actually work and earn money, right? Do you understand that?
Follow, but I cannot say I don't just understand it so well like the way I can speak like you about the subject matter. I cannot.
But you understand that you need somebody to volunteer with you a little bit. Or actually, we could do it differently too. She doesn't need a volunteer. It could be done differently, and she could pay somebody and go live with a family. Maybe even one lady, but I don't think one lady works because
It's quite tedious.
it's very difficult for one person because they need a break. They need a break, Grace. They need to have a life of their own and everything, right? And plus, it's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Yes, that's
So even to hire somebody to come live in the condo with you, it's between $10,000 and $20,000 a month, depending on your level of care. So just by the hours alone, it's like over $10,000 a month because you got to pay for the minimum wage at least for the hours that people work, right? So if they're with you 24 hours and they're actually checking your glucose several times a night and they're, sometimes, anyway, it's a 24-hour job, Grace. So you sort of need a volunteer, but you don't because with proper tax planning, which is what I've been trying to get the banks and everybody to help you with, so that with your pension, like I said, you can even maintain your same socioeconomic position because you can sign your pension over to your power of attorney caregiver who can sign the contract for you to have the personal care, and then your whole income and everything you do is tax deductible. And we've already spoken to the accountant about it. It took us a little while to find the right guy at H&R Block. He's the manager and everything, right? But it can be done, and that's how it's supposed to be done. So if you did that, then you could certainly live with any family, and you could pay enough money that you could live a wonderful life. And the thing about living with a family is that even though the mom might be looking after you predominantly, which is what we would expect, right? She's not going to be able to do it all the time. She's going to need time to go with her friends and play cards or talk about a book, or she's going to need some time just to go lay in the bathtub for 2 hours and put the candles on, right? Everybody needs their personal time, you included. But at least if you're in a household with there's a husband or a couple kids, then there's always a dog, whatever. There's always something going on and always somebody nearby so that if an emergency occurs, you're taken care of, right? And there's more people to love you that way too, Grace, which is very important.
So complicated for me.
I know it is right now, but this is what we were talking about a few years ago. This is what you wanted to do. So the first of the finger dementia, the 5, diet, exercise, socialization, cognitive challenge, and heart, that's the finger dementia. And the other 4 come from the Cleveland Clinic method, which is another world-renowned medical group. And they're the ones that say the depression, the chronic stress, the anxiety, and the improper sleeping, right, which we all know. But it's not including the finger dementia. So the people doing the finger dementia, that study is a waste of money.
Why?
Because it's only part of it. You got to have the rest. And to be honest with you, Grace, you know this.
Too complicated for me.
You know this.
Yeah.
When it comes to the glucose levels and your hypertension, the marijuana candy or drops or whatever you happen to be is almost as important as the insulin, if not more, isn't it?
What do you think? You are the expert.
I'm asking you, Grace. You know, you come to me and ask for them when you think it's time sometimes now. And yesterday I said not yet, and then I was wrong. You needed it because a little bit later sundowning set in. I made a mistake.
What mistake? No.
I didn't give it to you because I thought you didn't need it yet.
Okay.
But you knew sundowning was coming and you knew you needed your candy. We've seen how it lowers your glucose from 15 down to 10, right?
Wow. Every day is learning day for me.
But if you don't have the marijuana, your glucose goes over 14 every time, right?
Well, to be honest,
You don't remember?
I can't remember. I rely so much on you.
Oh.
It's thanks to you or thanks to you. Either way. You do a lot of caring for me that I rely on you a lot.
Well.
That is honest.
Mm-hmm. That's okay. That's the way it's supposed to be. At your age, Grace, what really should be happening is you should be working with children a little bit, reading children's books or in a household with, because the cycle of life at the end, it's good to connect with the unadulterated love of the young children, and that will bring you back to the Lord. I have to put it in there, folks. Sorry, but that's what I believe and that's what I know. So, also, since we're spending hundreds of millions of dollars studying the finger dementia method, and we're probably spending the same studying the Cleveland Clinic method, and since a couple of our most pressing medical requirements and urgencies in the world right now are elderly people, diabetes, and dementia, I think since we came up with the way to put everything together into one and call it a coaching position, and then you have one-on-one care, basically, right? So they know your metabolism. They can predict your metabolism, basically. So they know when you'll need to eat, what you'll need to eat, how much you'll need to eat, right?
There are lots of, just listening to you, we all agree that there are lots of knowledges we have to learn.
Yes, all stuff that a coach knows.
I don't like it.
Instead
like it or not.
Instead of having a whole bunch of people help you, though, having one person help you, and then being able to go see your doctor every 6 months, your family doctor, and then you go see your endocrinologist every 6 months. So that means every 3 months you're seeing a professional doctor, too, that really, really knows you, and that they're watching out for you. So I'm being watched. It's not like I'm just running wild through the streets, right? So you are being very, very, very well cared for.
Yes.
And the crisis workers, if they could learn a little bit about sundowning, for example, or if they could learn a little bit about gentle persuasive approach, or if they could learn about the fact that 39% of dementia is curable, or if they could learn about the fact that hearing problems are often mistaken for dementia. Like, there's a lot of things they need to know before they come out here and take you to the hospital, right? They should have been able to help us. But but we still need them, because people like you going to live in a home, you need to know that you have somebody you can count on outside the home. So you can have a crisis worker that you can call. And like, once again, it's about having the same person consistently to talk to. So after a while, they become aware and they're saying, Grace, I know I've heard this before, blah, blah. And they try to talk to you nicely and understand you and be your friend, right? And if necessary, they go for a walk with you, maybe, right? And talk and have a coffee or something. We need everybody. We need the OPGT. They're going to help us to figure out how to do a budget for somebody like you.
No.
We need the nurses. We don't need as many nurses because we get to save on all the nursing because you have a coach who takes my course, right? Hopefully. Police department should take it. Bankers should take it. They should all take it so they understand your condition, because they don't really understand your condition right now. They don't understand that you can get better. And they don't understand that it's a hearing problem, right, Grace?
Yes.
You've had some bad experiences.
Yeah, that's right. I already been I consider myself lucky that I have, the experts from Mount Sinai Hospital. You are one of them, for example, in the team.
I'd love to
help the patients.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why you have been taking very detailed cares.
I really want to set up a study so we can teach some people to do what I do for you, and we can teach them, because we really need this quickly. We have a housing crisis, and we have a crisis looking after the elderly with your conditions. The only way you can be looked after is a one-on-one. So
Can be more correct than that.
right, it's correct. We'd like to do a study, and also we wouldn't mind doing a study on my medication from my heart, because I don't need triple heart bypass surgery anymore. I take plant saps. You can see that on my website, theevolutionofmedicine.com. You can actually download the 9-page synopsis, I guess it's called, of what we're recommending with regards to the healthcare portion of it, at least. And to be honest with you, like I was studying a few minutes ago, they spent hundreds of millions studying the finger method, and they probably spend the same with the Cleveland Clinic. Neither one will work alone. I want the Nobel Peace Prize for medicine. The thing is I'm Jewish. I spend my whole life praying through my actions. I'm a secular Jew, meaning my family didn't really know what to do, and even though I wanted to be Jewish, it was, like I'm out in the wild, right? But I knew some people when I was before 5, and I said, that's what I'm like. I'm going to have a business. I'm not going to be a drunk. I'm not going to be a bum like some of the people I know. I'm going to be a business person. I'm going to make the world a better place. And I also heard anti-Semitism back then. So I always wanted to be the best Jew I could. So one day when this anti-Semitism came back, I could stand up and say, you know what? I'm what a Jew is. So if you want to judge a Jew, judge me. And as a matter of fact, I've read Judenstadt, and I am 100% a Theodor Herzl secular Jew. 100%. I'm a Zionist. I pray through my actions every day to make the world a better place. I coach kids for 25 years at my own expense. I've been helping you for 3 years to a very, very, very large extent at my own expense. My teams always win. You're doing fantastic. I've helped somebody else who was blind and not anymore. I helped somebody else who was addicted to drugs and isn't anymore. They came and lived with me for a while. Now they live a wonderful life, right? So, and I do it all out of love, right? That's how I do it. And that's why it works so well, because people know I'm putting them ahead of myself, basically, right?
That's great.
I'm a person of legacy. I don't need people to remember my name. I just need to leave it better than I found it. Don't you agree with that?
Yes, we do.
Right? So I would like to get the Nobel Peace Prize for me and the doctors, her doctors too, right? And I like to do it in the name of Zionism and Judaism, because the truth is I didn't even know about Zionism until a couple of years ago. I'm just a Jew. To me, a Jew is a Jew is a Jew. Doesn't matter. So now I want to change home care. I want to help little old ladies. Hey, Grace?
Well, including an old one like me.
Yeah, you're not that old. You're pretty spectacular, actually.
I'm old.
I hope we can organize things and get things fixed up before your birthday, because you deserve to have a special birthday this year. This year you're going to be 80. 80. But you can outwalk me. You can walk further than me, right?
Yeah.
You can, because my back slows me down. You can walk farther. Well, Grace, that's about almost an hour. I'm going to shut up for a second. I'm going to let you get started. What would you like to say?
Well, we will, after a short rest, we will meet again in this type of discussions. Hopefully we don't have to wait for long.
You see how sharp she is? She's trying to get out of it. But is there anything you would like to add, Grace?
Continue to be a
How about this?
healthier and happier
How about this?
senior.
Yeah, well, there at Hope Molecules. If you're happy, and you know what, clap your hands. You know what? If you're happy and you're walking and working, you actually produce hope molecules, and the hope molecules are produced in your muscles. You can look them up online,
Oh,
and
yeah.
then they go feed your brain, and your brain says, "Oh yay!" and your brain wakes up. That's the exact opposite of depression and stress and anxiety, and that's why I try to keep you happy and singing, and right?
The hope items, hope list. Now I know the name.
You don't want to be the hopeless, right?
No, I want, that would be my
hope molecule,
Yeah.
right? Very, very important. So, so we said, you understand the power of attorney for personal care. Do you remember the four things now?
衣食住行 eat clothing eating living and transportation
Traveling.
walking and all that.
Right.
Always,
your
I have
food?
this list in my mind all the time.
And that's what you told me ahead of time. So you want to eat like I feed you. You don't want to eat like the food in a nursing home, right? Anyway,
Well,
so it's, well, what?
I enjoy eating the company with you. So even though we have disagreement in the list, I still continue insisting sharing the list.
Yeah, you
衣
love.
食住行 in Chinese, eat clothing, eating, transportation, and walking.
Yes.
No. 衣食 eat means clothing, living. I mean no clothing.
Your number one joy.
Eating.
Number two joy.
Transportation, living, and how I walk a car.
Where you live, yeah.
Where I live.
And that you can go somewhere, not stuck inside, because right. So you have to be able to get out and enjoy your life, Grace.
That is
yes.
The list I give to myself, remind myself. Sound like the basic list, but inclusive. So it's good guidelines.
And we're going to try to help how many people? 100 million. There's 450 million with diabetes right now. Alzheimer's is one of the biggest problems right now, or dementia, right? Go ahead, Grace.
I know the number given sounds very, very demanding, right? Challenging, but I feel that it's important. Sounds like 衣食住行, like say again in Chinese, but I will translate. 衣 clothing. You have to clothe yourself before you meet people, right? 食 you need to eat before you have the energy, and then you have good transportation for rest, and then after you get after eating tired, and then rest is where you live.
Yes.
These are the in my culture, language in Chinese is a word, so it's easy to remember. If you're interested, just give me a Gmail and I will give you the list.
Sure.
You will never forget. Only in Chinese 4 words. Eat, food.
Okay, Grace. Okay, we had. Okay, that's great. We already talked about it. So we know they're important to you, but nobody asked you those questions. Like when they're asking you about going to a nursing home in the hospital last time, were they asking you about these or reminding you about these?
No, but since that incident, I keep on reminding, make sure I remember. As soon as I pull out my fingers, I can remember the list. Eat, I mean, clothing, you need to eat.
Okay, we don't want to talk about the clothing anymore. We've done it enough now. But you can see Grace loves her clothes, or obviously how she dresses, how she don't. She just loves it, and her food, right? You see it every day. So a lot of people don't seem to understand your needs and your requirements. The government is still saying all you need is a companion, whatever a companion is. But even a companion, you have to pay for every hour they work. There's no such thing, because they're there, and it's every hour. Too many people try to not pay the hours that are worked. Even CIBC and Scotiabank got sued about 15 years ago because they weren't paying their bank. They had bank staff staying and not paying them. But they sued and got paid later. I think it was Scotiabank. I'm not sure. CIBC, I think for sure. But anyway, maybe it wasn't them. But so I'll take that back. Apologize if I have to, right? But that did happen to somebody though. A couple of banks quite a while ago. You have to pay for the hours. That's why your care is expensive. But with proper tax planning, you can afford the best care.
Well, I have to rely on you. Of course, I will more than happy to follow those guidelines, which is interesting and successful.
Even if it's not me, Grace. Even if it's not me. So let's keep praying through our actions. Let's hope we can fix up this mess with the finances, because I've got every bill collector in the city calling me now. I'm so broken out of money. And, I think I got $9 left. And The fridge is pretty much empty. There's a couple of grapes and some blueberries at least Grace can take when she takes her insulin. But I think the $9 is going to go for bread and a dozen eggs. We'll get the cheap eggs and a loaf of bread. And that means we can eat fried egg sandwiches or boiled egg sandwiches, protein bread tomorrow at least. And we'll see what happens tomorrow, Grace.
Yes. I thank you for your ongoing help to look after me in the best way.
Thank you very much. Shalom.
Okay. Thank you.